Hello and welcome. This is going to be the Daily Dharma. My name is Dina. Thank you so much for joining today. Let's go ahead and sync up our energies. Take a great breath. And as you exhale, allow any fears, anxieties, or dramas to pass through the smoke, transmuted and uplifted into some understanding today. Apologies for the chair. It is still squeaking. I'll get that dealt with sometime soon. Today, going into the reading, a few different messages coming through. I'm seeing Tiger Mother with the dance unveiling here, the mystery and the urge, the spontaneous urge to take action and to identify the primal self, perhaps in that case. So some of the pre-messages are, I went into the astrology. I have not been following astrology as I sometimes do recently, but at this time, we just had Pluto finally tipping over into Aquarius for the last time, as it's been teetering there between Capricorn and Aquarius for a few years now. And so it's done in Capricorn for the foreseeable future. It takes about, I think, 292 years to get around the entire zodiac and return around to the same place in the chart. So we won't see it again in this lifetime. And at right now, I was just looking at the astrology into the current planets, and I was noticing that we have an interesting lineup of planets. And if you know anything about astrology, you look also at the angles created between the various bodies and planets in the sky. And so right now we have Pluto, as we just said, moving over. And so it's at that critical degree between signs. So it varies depending on who you listen to as to where that exact placement is, but it's somewhere between the 29th and the 1st degree between any of the two adjacent signs. In Pluto's case, of course, between Capricorn and Aquarius. But I was noticing that right now, as I looked at the skies, we have the sun just about 60 degrees behind at about the 29th degree and some change of Scorpio, the sign of death, transformation, and depth in general, and the primal self, arguably. Well, somewhat that would be another sign too. But anyways, on the cusp between Scorpio and Sag, where Sag, then the energy is about to lift up with the sun moving signs, we're going to see a little bit more optimism in the coming phase. If stuff is still going to be not turning around, at least we'll start to feel a little bit more hope, a little bit more optimistic about accepting and moving forward in the energies that we're facing. And then, okay, so that's 60 degrees from the sun to Pluto, and then another 60 degrees beyond that we have Neptune, which Neptune and Pluto are so slow moving. They've been roughly in 60-degree aspect with each other for some time. And Neptune is actually back somewhere around the 27th degree. So it's not quite on the critical degree at this time. But then we have 60 degrees beyond that, we have Uranus. And Uranus was a big player in the recent full moon. So Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. At the very end of that sign, it's somewhere around the 26th degree at this time. So again, we're talking a little bit of wiggle room here. So not everything's on the critical degrees, but it's well, let me complete the thought about Uranus. The change bringer was right on top of, in the same space in the heavens as the moon, when the moon was full in opposition from the sun. And the sun, again, is just a few days past that, and now it's about to leave the sign that it had that full moon in, Scorpio there and moving forward. So Uranus is already activated by that moon energy, and the Uranus is just shy of Jupiter. Jupiter's in the next sign over in Gemini. And so it kind of, because of the nature of the two planets, they're not terribly far away from each other, but being out of sign from each other, they're in different energies. And so even though they're still influencing each other, it's not pronounced. But Jupiter expands anything it's nearby. It's the biggest planet. And so its magnetism is very immense, no matter, its orb arguably could be a little bit larger, just as Pluto, even though Pluto is tiny, it packs a punch. And so I hope you're following. And then from the two of those, right about in the middle of the Uranus and Jupiter area there, in the middle there is the point that would be more exact with this 60-degree progression. So right around 60 degrees from that point, we have Mars, which has just shifted signs into the sign of Leo. And just as a little side fact for anybody who is interested, I just realized it's literally my Mars return. It seems like I've realized this a couple times over recent times and have forgotten about it. But so when you have the Mars return, it's like you have newfound inspiration and motive and momentum, motivation. Perhaps even it could be any type of vital energy. It could even be your attractions and so forth. So Mars comes around to start things up and to raise things up. And when it's moving into a fiery sign like Leo, it's talking also about extending ourselves for our authentic spark and what makes us separate and different and special. And it likes a little bit more attention than some of the other signs too. And so then, if you took Mars and had anything else 60 degrees forward from that, it would fall right at the cusp between Libra and Scorpio. And so if you have somebody that has a birthday in that time, or if you have a prominent placement there or another, then you could be having this full circle completion, making a grand sextile. And for the collective, it is so close to being a full sextile that if anything were standing in that position between Libra and Scorpio here, then we would have a full grand sextile in the sky, even though it's not exact because of how everything is so intense right now. Especially we've got extreme solar energy, we have extreme lunar energy, we have this grand sextile, we have socio-political unrest and different things moving and shaking, and the whole world moving into this age of Aquarius. It's like things are truly aligning in some type of a way here. And so the grand sextile, you may choose to look at that to see how it influences and affects your own chart, but it seems like it's going to be part of the reading today. And me personally, I do have something there at the cusp there of the Libra Scorpio mixture. And so for me, I have that completion of the grand sextile. And so maybe check that out if that resonates. But as a collective, we're kind of looking for some type of rebalancing, some type of clues to rebalance some type of unrest, to allow ourselves to place something in proper perspective. And it takes our own transcendence and transmutation of whatever has weighed us down in some way here. So we're all facing up to different challenges. Let's see, let's get some cards on this, shall we? right. Let's take another deep breath. And release. We'll take this one. All right, we have Bahadra Kali, number 14. I always see this, forgive me, as the badass, and that is not what it means in the book. But to me, it's this otherworldly sight here that really makes one's energy quite powerful and poignant, if that's the word. Something that's kind of like distinct, sharp, and effective. It has gravity. And so see, her eyes are kind of slitted and she's almost looking beyond the present moment. So you may have some type of insight, foresight, foreshadowing. I'm also seeing the crown here has some cobras, perhaps, if that's the type of snake that is. I'm not sure if that's what they call it in there. But to me, this, I think it also is supposed to be this. The depiction of the Kundalini energy, when we actually have activated the Kundalini life force energy, which is a theme that's been ongoing this year. And so I believe this is something that's going on where then the energy is pulled up, 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 and then kind of some type of breakthrough thought process happening where then the astral awareness, it reaches a certain level so that our consciousness can actually transcend the limitations of the material world and travel the cosmos. The word is Naga, Naga, talking about how the Kundalini energy lies coiled at the base of the root chakra, at the base of the spine, waiting to be kind of conjured and worked with and brought up, up, up. And this can shake loose any amount of unrest or anything that doesn't suit us. And so it's kind of like that dark night of the soul that feels like a tower moment, the unraveling and uncoiling of the snake. It demands that the snake actually shed that previous skin in order to make its journey up the spine through the chakra systems, awakening each one kind of in tandem and one by one at the same time, and calls this awareness up and forward. So I'll get a quick little. It says our wild divine mother knows when to become gentle with our hearts, bestowing sweetness that liberates us from fear. So even though you may have faced much struggle, challenge, and adversity along your path, especially as of lately, and though it may seem that only the most powerful intensity could stem the tide of any negativity arising here, the dark mother of grace will conquer the obstacles to your freedom with gentleness. She manifests herself now as Bahadra the Gentle. She will calm the waves of emotion, eradicate doubt and despair, and provide safe and graceful passage through all difficulties. So sometimes we're drawn to Kali because we need her ferocity in our lives, that Mars energy. And sometimes what we learn as we connect with her is that we also equally deserve tenderness, sweetness, and gentleness, and that we've been far too hard on ourselves for far too long, perhaps. She reminds us that we're strong enough to be gentle with ourselves. If we've been subconsciously sabotaging ourselves in any way, she softly and deftly breaks the pattern. So yes, we no longer need to engage in any type of unnecessary drama going forward. This is a time to really choose for what we're building into our life in the coming phase. And so if you believe that this is what's coming in for you, then trust it. We've been getting a lot of number synchronicities. I had another synchronicity come up recently, but here we have, this is 14. And she comes out with the 15 card from the Kuan Yin deck. because I have the deck mixed here. And this is my card for forgiveness and relaxation and just taking a breather and resting and recovering after a time of having either overextended or overdone or even a need to meet a deadline, or even going even further than that, the type of relationships and the type of approaches that we believe that we need to engage. So it doesn't matter if it's perhaps your relationships or something else coming in. Uh, we deserve something that's going to feel good while we're engaged in it. And so I think that we're all getting into that space. Let's go ahead and we're going to make this one a short reading. I have some company walking in and I'm excited to visit with my friend here. So let's take a few cards. Last shuffle. Allowance. Sacral chakra. What do you deserve? And allowing yourself to rest and relax and recover after some type of stress, or even, we're talking about this Kundalini awakening energy that's shaking loose all types of crazy energy. And you can equate that too with the kind of shocking circumstance that breaks the tower down. Anything that's being deconstructed is like the toxins or the cellular reawakening process. As new cells are developed, then the old ones are dying away and they need to be passed through the system to be purged from the system. So any type of building is also asking us to release in order that we can receive the renewed energy. And so we need to, going through these stressful times, we need to allow ourselves and not gaslight ourselves that we don't deserve to take a rest. If you require extra recovery time, then go to bed a little earlier. Make sure that you cut yourself back from your electronics a little earlier and make sure that you are getting that downtime that you require. So two coming out together, we have alchemy and authority. You know what your body requires. Your body will get louder and louder if you don't listen to it in the moment. So, and then we've got a change coming in below. Let's see, a change, empowerment. Okay, we'll stop there. So divine feminine here under the deck. And then we've got, okay, remembering. Looks like something's going over and over in your head. You've been rethinking the way that something went down with dynamic and third eye chakra. It could be different relationships or patterns in your life, or friendships or jobs or something like this, or something that seems to be repeating, or some type of lesson. I feel like there's some growth here. And then we have soul time, passion, and prosperity. I love that one. I think too, we're talking about spending time on things that restore your energy, whether that's just listening to music, having a walk in the woods, having a phone conversation with friends, or so on. There's a way that we are being restored with prosperity here. It's the prosperity of spirit, replenished through awakening our passion. So engaging in what matters to us, and also feeling fulfilled, and also honoring what we really feel good about. And when our passion is on point, then we move forward. And when it is dwindling, when our flame is low, then we need to rest and restore. So then we have realization, discernment, empowerment, and change. I think that here we're talking about this realization of choice. Like maybe you want to go out and party this excuse me, this weekend or something, but it may be important for you to strengthen yourself in some type of a way, or to do something, let's say a side hustle. Like maybe it'd be great to go out and hang out with your friends, but at the same time you really want to do something that's going to pay off in the future. So I think that we're looking at too the choices of what's right for you in the moment, whether you need to rest and replenish so that you have time to go out and balance your life with social interaction and with generating a life that's meaningful and has you feeling passionate and engaged. So, all right, any final messages? Okay, we'll take those ones. Yeah, divine assistance, divinity and assistance. So I think that meditation will, here we have power. So we have empowerment and power. So I think that we are also empowering the divinity within us to kind of be restored by some type of self-care or recommitment to our spiritual practice. So I have prayers under the deck, having our prayers answered, recognizing that it's time for us to be fearless in the pursuit of what really gets us excited about something. And here we have integrity. So there may also be a choice between situations or individuals and how we spend our time. I have to grab a card off the floor here. One moment. And then we have intuition. Absolutely. I think that we already know what is right for us in the moment. So how do we want to close out our reading? Let's just get an oracle card here. I've still got a couple of videos uploading already, so I don't know if this one will be uploaded before that because it's a little shorter, but check out the readings from recent times. I think that there's some really big transformations happening on literally at the cellular and energetic level for us. And so if you're feeling this overstimulation, or if you're noticing it going around in the dynamics around you and the people and places and things and situations around you, I think that this is going to be par for the course throughout the rest of 2024, because we're also going to have Mercury going retrograde, and then in short order in December, we're going to have Mars going retrograde between Leo and Cancer. And so it's working out the levels of ego and the need for self-validation and fearless self-expression and enjoyment in just the process of being who you were supposed to be all along. And what does it mean for that to transpire in your life? So here we have 13, gliding through currents underneath. Yeah, I think that you need to flow with something, some type of practice here in order to come to these conclusions and feel balanced and restored and renewed. It says with a different approach, you'll be able to glide through a situation with more grace and ease, going inward and bringing your understanding, perspective, or your behavior into proper flow and order will help your dreams take flight. Absolutely. So we've got your inner desires. I think that's what you're recognizing here, something stepping forward. Amble with contentment. There's a need to really perhaps like go get lost in the woods or lost in a good book or something, to disengage from something that's creating this stress so that we can lead our spirit back into balance. Waiting rather than acting. So you may be manifesting your inner desires, praying for some type of development to happen here, but it looks like you're being told to just kind of to be graceful and patient in the interim between the manifestation's arrival, and to enjoy the journey without getting lost in expectation or some type of fear that might block the manifestation from coming through faster. There's a little bit more that we are processing and integrating before we're the perfect match to our perfect destiny and blessings coming in. And here we have this diving to new depths. You're meeting yourself in a different way before moving forward here. It says there's a deeper meaning to what's happening. You might be looking at this from the surface and missing what's really going on. Take a moment to pause and to breathe. Allow yourself to dive deeper into what you're feeling about this current situation. And 47, connect to source. Absolutely. There's this need to get back into our center, into our inner temple and sanctuary, to be able to understand how to get from point A to point B. It says go within to discover what needs to be done. Create the shift required to attract what it is that you want. So I will pull one last card here. I love this Return to or Beyond Lemuria deck. This is the one. The Violet Flame. Transmute any lower vibrational fears, insecurities, any old guilt or shame, and just let that be transformed and transmuted and uplifted into new form through the Violet Flame. All right, and under that, Internal Explorer. Take good care of yourself. Gotta go, folks. Until next time.